Welcome to MathLink, where we're going to connect the dots. I am Mr. C, and in this unit, we're going to talk about how to graph functions. So we're going to graph linear functions, straight lines. So let's get started. Graphing a linear equation. Again, we want to look at linear equations. That's our key for this particular unit. And linear means straight line. So everything that we do, we should get a straight line for this linear equation. And they have finite number of ordered pairs of numbers that satisfy the equation. Now there's many different ways you can graph that. I'm going to show you the basic way of how to graph linear equations. Through our procedure we see here, we want to write the equation in terms of either variable x or y. We're going to have two variables, x and y, and they're unknown. And we're going to talk about how do we graph that. We're going to make a table of values. This is going to be the route we're going to do today. Make a table of values, head one column with x, head the other one with y, and then you select what value you want for x and y and plug it into the equation and solve for it. You pick it. It may be different than what I pick, but whatever points you pick, they're going to work within and make us that straight line. To make a straight line, you need at least 2 points, but it's good to get 3 points to make sure your line is straight and all the points are on the same line. But the minimum you need is 2 points. We're going to draw and label x and y axis on paper, and then we're going to plot the coordinate points on the graph, and then we're going to connect the dots. Connect the dots and make our straight line. Again, the minimum you need is 2. You can do 3 to double check. So let's look at our problem here. We want to graph this equation. 3x plus 2y is equal to 5. So let's go on our whiteboard and actually do this on our whiteboard. So here's our equation. 3x plus 2y is equal to 5. And so the first thing we're going to do in order to graph this, we're going to write a table. So we want to graph this and how this looks. Now, you can choose any value for x or y, and once you pick your value, you just solve for the unknown. It's going to automatically help you solve for the unknown. So a lot of times you may want to use values such as positive and negative. You don't always want to use positive. You may want to use positive and negative values to get what you need. 0 is always a good one. Don't worry about fractions. You got to know how to graph fractions. So just give me some things to think about. So for this one, let's actually do this. And so I'm going to choose values for x. Again, you could choose whatever value you want, but for in this particular problem, I want to choose values for our x in this case. So let's say we use x is equal to 3. Let's use that. I'm just using the value you're choosing. So what you're going to do, you're going to plug that 3 in for x. And this, I'm going to write it down here. This would be 3 times 3 in the equation plus 2 times y is equal to 5. Now 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2y is equal to 5. Then we're going to subtract 9 on both sides. And then we end up with 2y is equal to a negative 4. Solve both sides to get y by itself. Y is equal to a negative 2. So that means I'll solve for y. Y is equal to a negative 2. That's what we get if we choose. And then notice I have chosen 3. Now, so you know that I've chosen that value. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put 3 in green, so you know I've chosen that value. And by choosing that, it forces y to be a negative 2 in this case. So let's choose another value. It could be x or y, but it's going to force the other variable to solve for it. Okay. Let's use the value I'm going to put in green. Let's say we use 5 for x. A positive 5 for x. Now, in this case, I'm going to show the work on the bottom again. So make sure you look at the work down, down here. And we'll put the work in blue. So this gives me 3 times 5, we're substituting the value, plus 2y is equal to 5. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2y is equal to 5. And then we have subtract 15 on both sides. This is 2y is equal to a negative 10. Therefore, y is equal to a negative 5. Now, those are my 2 points. So those are my 2 points. And again, the minimum meaning is 2. It's good to get 3 to double check it. So how do I write this? So I write this as 3, negative 2 is 1 point. And my other point I'm going to write next to it is 5, negative 5. Now to graph this, we're going to create that X and Y axis. So let's see if we can do that here. So I like to have my Y, my X. I'm going to label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is negative. And so I like to write my axis X and Y. And then let's plot these points. And so 3, negative 2, we start at the origin. And let's do a different color for this one. Let's do it in blue. So start at the origin, go over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 2, 1, 2. It gives us exactly right there. Good job, Mr. C. And then for our next one, start at the origin, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down negative 5 will give us right here. Now, once you got the 2 points, connect the dots. Now, this is what I want you to do. When you connect the dots, make sure you put an arrow and continue to go up here and put an arrow. What that's telling me, this line is a line and it goes forever. Lines go forever. It's not a segment, it's a line. So make sure you put those arrows. And that is the graph. In our case, I'm going to put a check there of 3x plus 2y equals 5. Again, don't be afraid when you have fractions as an answer. Just follow them. If they're half, put them right where they are within your number line, or put them in your graph where it's located at. Now let's look at another graph. Let's look at graphing another equation. Let's say we have 2x minus 3y is equal to 6. So let's graph that. In this case, I'm going to use my X and Y axis, or X and Y table, and I'm going to choose values. So the values I'm going to choose, I'm going to put them in green. So let's say X is equal to, let's use a value 0. You could use 1, you could use 2, I'm using 0. And to solve this, I'm going to put this in blue. This is 2 times 0 minus 3y is equal to 6. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. So all we're left with is that 3y. So divide by 3, divide by 3. Therefore, y is equal to a negative 2. And so in black, this will be negative 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to use a different value. But this time, I'm going to put in a different location. I'm going to use y. So let's put a value for y. I want to put 0. I like using zeros when I can. I'm putting a value for 0 for y. So what I'm putting in green is what I'm choosing. You can choose whatever value you want to do and solve for it. I tend to use 0. So this will be 2 times x minus 3 times 0 is equal to 6. Now 3 times 0 is 0. So we end up with 2x is equal to 6. Divided by 2. Therefore, x is equal to a positive 3. So and now if we want to do one more point, you can do that. And I guarantee if you do it correctly, your point will be on the line once I make the straight line. So these are our points here. So let's write our points. It's 0, -2, and the other one is 3, 0. Now these are special points. I use these on purpose because these are special points, and you'll see in a second. And a lot of you may start using these type of points when you want to graph like this. So let's get our X and the Y axis. So this is my X axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is my Y axis, and this is negative. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative. Now let's plot these points. We're going to plot them in blue. So in this case, 0, -2, you start at the origin. 0 means we didn't go anywhere, and -2 means we went down 2. And that is actually on the y-axis, and this point is called the y-intercept. So this is the y-intercept because it's on the y-axis. It's not in a particular region. It's not in a quadrant. Now 3, let's start the origin. 3, 0, we go over 3. 1, 2, 3, 0. We don't go any up or down. We stay right there. So this is 3, 0. That is the x-axis because it crosses the x-axis. This is the x-intercept. So then we'll connect the dots, draw that arrow, and that is the graph. That's the graph of 2x minus 3y equal to 6. Now, I hope that helped out how we do one way of graphing. This is the basic way of graphing using tables, X and Y tables. Now, if you have any questions, again, look back at the video. Also look at some of the supplementary material we have at our website at MathLink. And again, I appreciate you and thank you for looking at this particular video.